We made our lasagna, and it turned out...
Oh, he said lasagna.
Lasagna.
He knows how to say lasagna.
And cheap as a lasagna is going to get. What, are you going to go to the frozen aisle and go get your frozen lasagna?
No,
Guilty of that.
Don't do that, please.
I've
Do
done
not
that.
do
It's
it.
desperate, okay? I was also young. Chef Brian Sau here, not your typical chef, and today I'm going to be reacting to Italian Chef Reacts to $1 Lasagna by Joshua Weissman. Before I go on with today's episode, I do want to shout out my latest sous chef level patrons, Raul Flores, Ashley Hall. Thank you so much for your support. And for those of you who've been watching the channel and want to support further, please consider becoming a patron. Visit the link in the description below. That will take you to my official Patreon page where, if you sign up, you can take advantage of some awesome perks. And lastly, if you can follow me on Instagram at Chef Brian Sau, I would greatly appreciate it. And with that said, let's react to some shit.
He made a $1 lasagna. How can you make a $1 lasagna? What's inside?
Wow, that lasagna looked delicious. The sauce looked delicious. I already know we are going to a good place. I will mention, and I've touched upon this in my other Josh Weissman reaction video about a turkey sandwich he did. This but cheaper series, you know, this one, it says $1 lasagna. It's true and untrue in that, you know, he's giving you the cost of a single portion, just the food cost, I should mention. That doesn't include labor, equipment, but even with him just giving you the calculation of the food cost, he's costing it at one portion, meaning like, for example, a tablespoon of salt and X amount of grams of pasta sheets. You know, you can't buy that at your supermarket. You have to get the minimum of a 1 pound box of salt or sugar or whatever it is, right? So again, he is truthfully breaking down the food cost, but it's not necessarily applicable for the home cook. With that said, though, that does not diminish Joshua's skills or abilities or his knowledge by any means. Just wanted to point that out, though.
So it's a nice day. You're going out with your family to eat at a nice Italian restaurant. And
What's the mustache? Huh? Why have you got a mustache?
What's with all this?
you decide you're going to order lasagna, and it's this much?
17. Wow, here in Australia we will pay $35 Australian dollars for a slice of lasagna, which is not even done the right way.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. When you could be making
Shots
it simply
fired.
for this price per person, right?
How can you make a lasagna for $1 per person? Really? I'm intrigued. I mean, this is the lasagna.
Ooh. Ooh, look at that, the crispy cheese on the edges of the pan. The inside is nice and moist. That is really a picture perfect lasagna. Going back to the food cost, though, again, that is just food cost. It doesn't account for, I mentioned this, the labor, your equipment, you know, for example, the pots, the pans, the sifts, the tongs, all that stuff costs money. Oh, and if this is in a restaurant setting, let's not even say restaurant setting, for your home, the electricity, the gas, the wear and tear, the cleaning supplies, the water to clean the pots. When all that comes together, before you know it, that cost skyrockets up. So I don't want people to watch this going, oh, restaurants are ripping me off. No. You know, the food business is probably one of the least profitable businesses you could ever get into. And the product has short shelf life. It's not like something that sits on the shelf and won't go bad for a year or 2 years or whatever it is. Like, you have a couple days to get this product in, process it, and get it to the customer and hope that they pay you. And then on top of that, now everyone's paying with credit cards, and the credit card company takes a percentage.
That looks sensational. That really looks good, but does it really cost you $1 per person?
When it comes to the lasagna, you can get a little bit of...
Lasaga.
What did he say?
Lasaga.
Is it really cheaper to make it from scratch? Does it taste better from scratch? I fear for what the answer could be. Let's just rip the band-aid off and do this. In order to make those, you'll need a large bowl. Start off with 2 cups or 300 grams of all-purpose flour. Create
See, it's cheap.
a nice little well. In that flour, careful, don't fall in, buddy. Then to that, you're gonna add 3 egg yolks and 2 whole eggs.
Okay, so the cost, he said 3 egg yolks and 2 whole eggs, or whatever that combination was, 50 cents. Did he account for the cost of the egg whites that's not being used? Not so sure, right? I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but Again, things like that. Your waste, the company that you pay to collect your trash. I mean, for home, the city provides it, but you're paying taxes. So you can really quickly see that, again, this is just straight to the food cost only.
I've done that. Normally, I always say, like my nonna says, 1 egg, 100 grams of flour. So if you have 5 people, you need 5 eggs, 500 grams of flour. That's how you make it. But let's see, I think your pasta is coming very dark, a lot darker because of the yolk. So let's see.
Together with a fork while slowly incorporating the flour until you get a shaggy dough. Then pour that out onto the counter and begin kneading by hand. If the dough isn't picking up much more flour and it's just kind of going all over the place, then discard the excess.
I was going to say, you did use lots of flour, my friend. I don't know who gave you the recipe for the pasta, but next time, come to Vincenzo's plate if you want to learn how to make pasta, like my nonna.
Now from those sheets, measure them up to match the length of a 9x13 pan. Cut those segments in half or thirds depending on their width, lengthwise, to get yourself a total of about 10 to 12 sheets. That's really it, they're ready to boil. So with all that being said, the pricing of the homemade pasta comes out to this right here. Now,
Beautiful, bellissimo, bellissimo.
let's boil one of these along with the store-bought version and decide if this is the cheapest and best tasting option or not.
We did the math. It turns out that this goes for this price right here. And this is sort of like in the $1.50, $2 range. So it's almost identical, give or take. So then it comes down to the quality of flavor. Okay, store-bought, it's got good chew, and it tastes like pasta. People always say, oh, there's no difference between store-bought and fresh pasta. Wrong!
Yeah, fresh made pasta is magical. Oh, you know who I know who makes the best fresh made pasta? My buddy Chef Ed Cotton, who was on Top Chef. I'm gonna try giving him a call. He may not pick up though. Let's give him a call. Let's give him a FaceTime. He may be doing lunch service and very angry with me. Yes! He picked up! Ed, you're on my web series. All right, brother. So, real quick, I am reacting to Vincenzo's plate, reacting to Joshua Weissman making lasagna. And you're probably the guy that I know the best who makes some of the best handmade pasta I've ever had. And I just really wanted your opinion. What's the X factor? Why fresh pasta? Why do you think fresh pasta is better than dry pasta? Or maybe not. Like, I'd just love to hear your opinion.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for the call anyway. And thank you for the kind words. Fresh pasta versus dried pasta. Let me tell you. Let me try to think.
Sorry to put you on the spot like this.
No. There's nothing wrong with dried pasta whatsoever. Okay, I physically love making fresh pasta because I find it very therapeutic. Kind of very sensual, like running your hands through flour, creating something from a few simple. Let me stop walking here. Creating something from just a few ingredients, and just cutting it, turning it into different shapes, stuffing it, and all that stuff. So that's my take on making fresh pasta. It's a wonderful feeling.
And what about taste and texture difference, though? Like, what's, in your opinion, the biggest difference?
Taste and texture. Obviously, you can go bananas by adding lots of egg yolks to it.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh farm eggs, you get the brightness, like the intensity of the color of the pasta, just versus something that was sitting on a shelf like a dry product. It's just like it's you can just tell. I think if you were to look at it side by side. What is fresh and what's boxed, but I don't believe. Okay, so I have a lot of fresh pasta at the restaurant, and some people.
Oh,
it happens.
Sorry, real quick. Let's tell everyone what's the name of the restaurant.
Well, the name of the restaurant is called Jack and Charlie's 118. We're located down on Greenwich Avenue, 118 Greenwich Avenue, on the corner of 13th. So. We've been open since October, and it's been going extremely well. And if you're looking for a job, hit me up.
Let's see how this YouTube thing goes in another month. You know, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. We'll see. So dry pasta. Some people, because I have a lot of fresh pasta at the restaurant, a lot of people, not a lot, but some people are like, I want it al dente. And it's hard to cook fresh pasta al dente.
Right.
Okay. It's fresh. Boxed or dried pasta, no problem. That's a great al dente all day long.
Yeah.
So
it's just different, not better or worse. And I think what I'm gathering from this is that there's a lot more love, I think, put into a fresh pasta, whether you're intended or not, right? Because you're putting so much energy and effort into creating this thing from scratch versus a machine.
Yeah.
All right. So
there are ways to get the fresh pasta slightly al dente. You know, we can cure it, let it sit out overnight, let it semi-dry and this and that, instead of like packing it fresh and putting it in portion bags and then boiling it. There are ways to get that. But there's nothing wrong with a great dried pasta.
Gotcha, man. Well, dude, I appreciate your time. Say bye to everyone on YouTube.
Peace out, everybody.
And appreciate you, man. I'm going to go visit you at the restaurant soon.
I owe you a visit too, man.
Yes, you do.
All those sandwiches look fantastic.
Appreciate that, man. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Likewise. Take care, bud.
See you later.
Bye. There you go. One of the best chefs I know, his take on fresh pasta. With that said, let's keep watching.
There is a difference, but there's a caveat. The caveat is this. This ain't cheap, and neither is this.
Very good point. Thing I kept mentioning or beating to death at the beginning of the video is the whole equipment thing, and Josh is identifying that, and he busted out what I would say is maybe one of the most common ways people make pasta at least in the States is, many homes have a KitchenAid mixer and you can buy a pasta attachment. Neither of these are particularly cheap. I think they're great investments. I think Vincenzo is going to say that you can buy just a dedicated pasta maker, which is hand cranked, which those aren't terribly expensive. But you have a tool that can only do quote unquote one thing, which is just making pasta. So is that a worthy investment for the average home cook? I think not. But I would definitely, and I do, have a pasta roller.
You can buy a cheap $20 pasta machine, maybe won't last long, but if you make pasta 2 or 3 times a year, that cheap pasta machine does the job. But let me tell you, 3 times a year, you're gonna have a marvelous experience.
The point is that you're gonna have to spend extra money in order to even make it yourself. You could roll it with a rolling pin, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I agree, not the same. Rolling pin, it's hard, very difficult, lots of work.
Yes.
No, you do need a pasta machine.
Rolling pin, the thickness and everything is basically dictated by your hands. And, unfortunately, the greatest margin of error will come from the human doing it. And if you have to literally control the pressure and everything of a rolling pin, just like they said, it's going to be very difficult.
It's considered flavor, time, effort, money spent. This is always going to be your cheapest option. This is the best flavor.
Flavor or cheaper option? Really? What do you want? Lasagna? You don't have lasagna every day. When you have it right.
Okay, so
This guy's funny.
let's talk sauce. Remember, sauce is the boss of flavor in
It is the boss of flavors.
lasagna. So take good care of it. Get yourself a pot or a Dutch oven. That's it.
Let's see how he makes the sauce. I'm really intrigued. If he makes the sauce like Gordon Ramsay. No. And he puts vinegar. I'm gonna.
Wait, what? Did Gordon Ramsay put vinegar in his carbonara?
These 5 quarts and heat up about 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of vegetable oil over medium-high heat. Then once
He wants to save money. He's using vegetable oil. Me, I always use extra virgin.
I agree with Vincenzo, but I also agree with Josh. The extra virgin olive oil to start your sauce is definitely going to be costlier. I think would be more authentic, but I don't think the flavor is really going to come through in the end product. So I agree with Josh. If you're trying to go more economical, use the vegetable oil.
grams of ground beef, 3/4 of a pound or 340 grams of ground pork. Prep
I like the two type of meats they mix. Pork is so important for a ragu. Very important.
And let that sear for 3 minutes. Flip and sear on the other side for about 2 to 3 more minutes. Then using a potato masher, mash all of that until it's very fine.
Or a wok spoon.
Beautiful, great technique.
After that, to a separate container, add a touch more oil if needed. Then add 5 cloves of garlic, thinly sliced, reduce the heat to medium, and let that cook, stirring occasionally until the garlic.
Do you know that in Italy, especially in Bologna and everywhere in Italy, they never put garlic in a lasagna? I don't know why people are obsessed with garlic. You think Italian food is always garlic. No, in specific recipes, yes. In this case, you need the soffritto, onion, carrots, and celery. The garlic can be an extra thing, but if you don't add the soffritto, you just can't make it.
I did not know that, and now I know. That is awesome. However, if we're going to talk just technique, I think Josh is doing great. I think in a more traditional sauce that Vincenzo's talking about, he's saying the sofrito, or shit, I'm blanking on the freaking name. The French term. Let's just go with sofrito. It's going to come to me like at the worst time possible. Mirepoix. The mirepoix, which is the onions, carrots, and celery that you put into stocks. He's calling it sofrito here. He would sweat it out at the beginning and then I guess cook the meat. Josh is searing off the meat, extracting the fat from the protein, and then, all the fond, which is all the bits that are stuck to the pan, he is cooking the garlic in that and in the same pot. So number one, he doesn't, he's not dirtying multiple pots. Well, actually, I guess that's not true because he put the meat into a separate bowl. But regardless, he's not wasting anything that's in that pot. That's all going to go into the sauce.
To toast and turn a golden brown. Then add 1 yellow onion, finely diced, and season to taste with salt.
Finally putting the onion, finally. But let me tell you, the onion takes longer to cook, so the garlic should have gone after the onion.
Stir, then let that saute until the onion has begun to turn translucent. Then add 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of fennel seed powder and any other spices if you want them, although not necessary. Maybe some red pepper flakes.
Oh, wow.
A little spicy.
Yeah, I like those flavors. Very nice. That spicy flavor, yeah.
Stir that together and saute till
And when you get those dry flavors, it's cheap. It's possible to make a cheap lasagna.
fragrant, about 30 seconds.
Dry spices will always be cheaper and, more readily available. You don't have to pick it. You don't have to mince it up.
6-ounce can of tomato paste. Stir and let that cook until it begins to caramelize and stick to the bottom of the pan, about another minute. Then add 1 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Stir that in, and then add your meaty man back. Stir again. There's a lot of stirring here. And let that simmer and reduce.
Okay, so that single can of tomato sauce was 89 cents, and he was talking about the pasta being like 80 something cents as well. Right there already, you're way above your $1. Again, he's talking about the portion, but if you are going to make this, it's going to cost you well over $1. So he's talking $1 per portion, but as a whole, this won't be worth your while unless you're making a larger quantity, because it's also going to be a pain in the ass to make just one single portion of lasagna.
Guys, I have to say, the sauce looks fantastic. He didn't put the vinegar. He didn't put the Worcestershire, come cazzo si chiama sauce. This looks beautiful. Well done, Joshua. Well done for not watching Gordon Ramsay ragu. No. Well done.
And it tastes with salt and pepper, and that
ragu,
is your
okay.
saucy little guy.
Bellissimo.
Next,
I'm talking about Vincenzo mentioning that Gordon's video he keeps referring to as a ragu. Anyway, I'll react to that later on.
Bellissimo, easy. Is that ricotta?
bowl, add 15 ounces or 425 grams of ricotta.
So many Americans use ricotta. I don't know where this ricotta thing came from. Yes, some parts of Italy use ricotta in the lasagna. Yes, I like it. But you're looking at buying ricotta. What is that? For that little thing, probably you pay what, $2-3? You're looking at an extra expense in this case for ricotta that you don't really need. You can make bechamel sauce a lot cheaper and just mix it with mozzarella cheese. Do not need that ricotta flavor in the lasagna. You don't.
I feel like that's a very American thing because, all the lasagnas I've had in America, again, not necessarily at fine dining Italian restaurants, but whether it's at school or something that I bought frozen or, going to, my Italian friend's home, they would always make it with ricotta cheese.
Use ricotta frequently, and by the way, what are you doing? If you're not, that is typically...
Excuse me, what?
Wait, what do you mean what you're doing? You use bechamel sauce, you use mozzarella, you can use provolone, pecorino cheese or parmigiano cheese. That's enough. That ricotta, that gives a little bit of a weird kick, I have to say. Hey, I do like lasagna with ricotta. It's a bit weird, that kick that you get from the ricotta, okay?
gonna be a whole regular sized tub, usually. Season that lightly with salt and pepper, optionally some olive oil, but that's expensive, so don't do that.
It is.
being a silly man here. Then add in 1 whole egg and whisk all that together until smooth and homogeneous. Now we're almost...
Yeah, see what you just did there? Bechamel, please, bechamel.
I've never, whenever I've made lasagnas in this style, I've never put egg into the ricotta. I think the reason why he did it is because the egg acts as a binding agent, and then when it cooks, it kind of holds its shape a lot better than just loose ricotta. However, when I've made it, it's always just been straight up ricotta that I actually thin down with just a touch of cream. To each their own.
Now for the cheese, just mix together 8 ounces or 225 grams.
Oh, he's using dry mozzarella and he shaved it, grated. Fantastic. Do not buy fake plastic shredded mozzarella, please.
When you buy pre-shredded cheeses, period, it's coated with something, typically like something like cornstarch, which basically it's to prevent the cheese from sticking back together. When you make pasta at home, let's say you don't cook often, you decided let's do a pizza night, you bought pre-made dough or you bought dough from your local pizzeria, and then you opted to get the pre-shredded cheese, you'll notice that the individual shreds of cheese don't quite glue together. And you'll notice they kind of caramelize separately, and that it also looks a bit more burnt much quicker than if you were to take fresh cheese and grate it. There's no powder in there of any type to keep the cheese separated, so when you bake it or cook it, it homogenizes a lot better. So in case you didn't know, now you know.
Then mix that with a 1/3 cup or 80 grams of Parmesan cheese. Now
Parmigiano.
hear me out. Parmigiano Reggiano.
Bravo.
Parmigiano Reggiano
Bravo.
is the best option. Like that pronunciation, by the way, Italians. Can we get a rating, please?
Yay, well done. Fantastic pronunciation. Parmigiano Reggiano.
On that, wow, that's got a absolute unit out of 10. So, I'll take that. Anyway, that's the most expensive option, but you should choose a cheese that's like Parmigiano or one of the, Parmesan cheeses.
I recently had to go through this, so if I buy DOP imported Parmigiano Reggiano, it's about $16 a pound versus a Wisconsin, domestically, a domestic Parmesan cheese that came out to like $4 a pound. So the price difference is really significant.
I don't control the market price of Parmigiano, okay? But I wish I did. Call me the Parmigiano Kingpin. Assembly
I wish you were the Parmigiano Kingpin.
is ridiculously easy, and people get tripped up about it for no reason at all.
Normally I don't put cheese on top of my lasagna, even though I've done it in the past. Still do it sometimes, but this looks good. And I like the way the crust is burned. That's beautiful.
Here's all you need to know. First, put 1 cup of sauce at the bottom of a 9x13 baking dish, spread it edge to edge. From there, add 2 to 3
The reason why you put the sauce at the bottom is so it doesn't get stuck. Because the pasta can get stuck. You don't want to lose that bottom layer, Probably put too much sauce, but it's alright.
sheets of lasagna depending on their width so that it also goes edge to edge, such as this.
It is important to have to close every gap. You don't want gaps in between the lasagna. So, yeah, you did a good job.
On a third of your ricotta mixture, spread it out, followed by a third of...
Imagine you had bechamel sauce there. And what I would recommend to do first is to actually put the sauce on top of the pasta.
So bechamel sauce is one of the mother sauces. It's a white sauce. It's thickened with essentially with the roux, and it's just a basic like creamy white sauce. And from there, you can really take it in any direction you want. Vincenzo mentioned earlier in the video, you can add cheese into it. Again, it's a base sauce that can be transformed into anything, but you can also use bechamel as just plain bechamel, and that I think would be an amazing addition to this lasagna instead of ricotta. It's actually my personal preference versus ricotta. Sometimes I feel like the ricotta can get a little overwhelming. It also has a grainier texture. I do love me some ricotta. For me, if I was making lasagna, I would probably do it with bechamel and then put a scoop of ricotta on top of it with just a nice drizzling of really high quality finishing extra virgin olive oil. unreal. And to me, that's a more reasonable quantity of ricotta that I would enjoy in a lasagna.
Then next up, another cup of sauce. Spread that brother out, 2 to 3 more lasagna sheets, the next third of your ricotta mixture, the next third of your cheese, another layer of sauce, more lasagna sheets, your remaining ricotta, and this time, another ladle, which should be a glass ladle of your sauce. Then finish with the rest of your cheese. If you want or need more cheese, feel free to add it, but that's gonna cost you extra, son. Then add some
Come on, don't be a ass.
greased foil on top of your baking tray, dish, whatever the hell they're called. Wrap it tightly and pop it into an oven preheated to 375 Fahrenheit for 25 minutes, then uncover it and cook an additional 30 to 35 minutes.
Oh wow, that's why you get that crust. I normally do 10 minutes uncovered and I get that beautiful crust. 30 minutes, that's what you get. I have to try next time. The only thing is I don't put cheese on mine. So basically 10 minutes is enough, because if I don't put the cheese and I do for 30 minutes, I think I'm gonna make it too dry on top, which is not what I really want.
Right.
But this looks fantastic, Joshua.
Yeah. So, I've seen lasagnas really thick, like Joshua's, basically stacked to the top of the pan. I've seen them much thinner with a lot less stuff in between every layer. So it was like more pasta sheets with a thin layer of pesto and cheese. I've seen it with tomato. There's so many ways to do it. Clearly, Vincenzo approves of this technique. But, the main reason why Josh cooked it for that 25 minutes covered first is because this is such a thick mass and it's going to take time to warm it through. But you also don't want to prematurely burn the cheese on top, which is why he did it again. First 25 minutes covered, then took it off. It stayed in the oven for another 35 minutes. The entire product is definitely going to get nice and hot throughout. And then when you pull it out and cool it, that'll all kind of glue together and really give you a wonderful lasagna. But by cooking it part of the time uncovered, that's where the cheese will get really nice and crispy.
Until stunning, bubbly patches of deep brown cheese with crackly edges emerge. I mean, look at this. This is a proper lasagna. Those little...
I agree, this is a proper lasagna and it's cheap and it looks like a $25 per slice lasagna. It's just beautiful.
Crispy bits on the edge will have you wetting your pants while yodeling on a mountaintop. Don't ask me why. Now just...
No questions asked.
Let that rest for 15 minutes to cool slightly, then using a sharp knife, cut into 12 evenly sized square pieces, pop it on a plate, and let's see.
Bellissimo, bellissimo. I can see that ricotta in there, which I don't really love it, but it's bellissimo. This lasagna, it's beautiful.
I didn't hear Josh mention it, or maybe he did and I just kind of missed it. You should not cut into lasagna right away. It's going to be really hot. All the ingredients are going to be very loose, and when you scoop it out, it's just going to kind of spew all over the plate. You can see the lasagna, the sauce isn't dripping all over the place. The cheese isn't falling off. You really want to let your lasagna rest, bare minimum, to me, 20 minutes, so that it can cool a little and then everything can kind of glue together and then slice into it.
Wow, it's fantastic. I just can't help myself. What is the pecorino? What is the carrot?
See if we just made the most darn delicious and simple lasagnas for this price per person right here.
And normally I always say the edge normally doesn't look as pretty. Normally I cut the middle part when I take photos and stuff like that. But this edge, this corner, it's just beautiful the way it is. It's just perfect. This is an inspiration for many people that say, I don't have money. I don't want to spend this much. I only want to spend $1. This is an example that it's all here. You can spend less than $20 to make this. It's all in here. And Joshua just showed you, if you want to save money, you want to use cheaper ingredients, you can still make a fantastic lasagna.
1000%. Nail on the head, Vincenzo. Bravo, Joshua. I love Vincenzo's assessment. I mean, Vincenzo is as authentic and as experienced and as, the most you can ever ask for as far as a pro in the world of Italian cuisine. And he clearly identifies, Josh didn't do everything, the authentic way or the exact way that he would, but he still approves because Josh knew the fundamentals and was experienced enough where he can, and I don't say this in a negative way, where he can cut corners to use a cheaper ingredient, but still have an outstanding product, which this clearly is.
Before we even begin talking about the price, which is this right here, very nice, let's talk about the...
Can you believe it?
Listen carefully, all right?
It just looks beautiful. I can cut it and still.
Was that crispy sound in the lasagna? How crispy is it? Huh? What have you done? This is great. It's not right for a normal lasagna, but it is great because you made it.
Layer. You can enjoy it as it's meant to be. And it was meant to be absolutely awesome. Noodles cooked perfectly. It still has
Oh, don't say noodles, please, Joshua. Don't be like these other people. It's not a noodle. It's just pasta shade. It's pasta. It's pasta. Just say pasta.
body. It still has texture to it. You've got each individual noodle. Your teeth
Bellissimo.
crash
Bellissimo, Joshua. Bellissimo.
through every layer into the cheese, the meat, the caramelized tomato sauce. I mean, this is better.
I'm so proud you didn't put Winchester sauce. I don't know how you say
Worcestershire.
Winchester sauce
A little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Nobody really knows how to pronounce it.
or vinegar in that meat. Well done.
Than any average lasagna, and yet it is less expensive than most lasagna. That ain't
Where did you learn this from? Lasagna.
but cheaper. I don't know what the gosh darn heck is. You get out there and you make a lasagna because it's not.
Ancora lasagna. Basta, it's enough.
So we made our lasagna, and it turned out
Oh, he said lasagna.
lasagna
He knows how to say lasagna.
and cheap as a lasagna is gonna get. What are you gonna go to the frozen aisle and go get your frozen lasagna?
No,
Guilty
no,
of that.
don't do that, please.
Done
Do not
that.
do
I
it.
was desperate, okay? I was also young. If I'm gonna grade this 1 out of 10, I'm gonna give Josh a 9. Looked absolutely delicious, and you know what? Clearly, Vincenzo's giving him high marks as well. Great video. I love Vincenzo's outlook on just what cooking is about. He's not there looking for problems. He's observing and he's giving you his educated take on it, but also identifying that you don't have to necessarily do it his exact way. I think he would agree, although I don't know him personally, but I think, he would agree with what I'm about to say, that his way would be the better way, but it's not the only way. Love it, love it, love it. Great stuff. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Make sure you follow me at Chef Brian Sau on Instagram. And with that said, I am Chef Brian Sau, not your typical chef, and I'll see you really soon.